Hey guys, Toast here. Today I'd like to talk a bit about the news that Battlefield 1 will be receiving its own CTE, or Community Test Environment. For those who may not be familiar with the CTE, it's essentially a completely separate client and server in which upcoming versions of the game are tested by the community in order for DICE to receive feedback and information pertaining to upcoming changes to the game. The CTE is the community's opportunity to try out new balancing and mechanics that DICE want to introduce to the game in a way that allows DICE to modify the new content and changes for the better before it's being pushed out to the general Battlefield community in the live game. For those of you who were Battlefield 4 players as well, you may remember that it had a really shaky launch. Massive netcode issues, bugs, glitches. Battlefield 4 was chock full of these for months after the game released. Ultimately, it was the introduction of the CTE for Battlefield 4 that allowed DICE Sweden and DICE LA to turn around what was commonly referred to as a terrible launch and make the game what it's become today, allowing it to still have a larger player base than the vast majority of games of the same age. Because of the CTE for Battlefield 4, the netcode was fixed to the point where it almost felt like an entirely new game. No more rubber banding, server crashes, teleportations. These things still happen occasionally, but not nearly as much as they once did. If the CTE was able to do this for Battlefield 4, a game that was in a much worse state at launch than Battlefield 1, my hope is that it can do even more for Battlefield 1, which will hopefully get some players who've purchased the game but grown bored or frustrated with it to come back and increase the size of the active community. According to DICE, the CTE for Battlefield 1 will initially be for PC players only, however they did eventually release the CTE for Battlefield 4 for console players, so I anticipate that we'll see the same eventually for Battlefield 1 as well, especially considering the fact that DICE specifically used the word initially when talking about its PC release. As for a PC player, you'll need to have Premium for Battlefield 1 in order to take part in the CTE. While this might be a slightly controversial choice, I do understand the reasoning behind this. While it's great from the player's perspective to be able to try out new balancing before it's released in the live clients, having too many players giving feedback can also become difficult to manage for a developer, especially when it comes to balancing issues. By using Premium players only, DICE will still have a significantly sized player base to receive feedback from without being overwhelmed. DICE will be handing out codes initially to ramp up the use of the CTE to select players, though I imagine we'll see it opened up to all Premium players within the next few weeks. So what can we expect to see from the CTE initially for Battlefield 1? Well, DICE has confirmed that they're going to be testing and ensuring the stability of the upcoming patch. One of the new features that's been confirmed by a DICE developer on Reddit is the addition of ribbons to the reward system of Battlefield 1. For those of you who've been with this channel for a little bit and have watched my previous videos, you know that I'm not a big fan of the current medal system in place. It doesn't provide enough reward on an ongoing basis to keep players engaged and make them feel like they're working toward anything, whether tangible or intangible. Now, I've spoken previously about my preference for the ribbon system in Battlefield 4, where you can earn ribbons at any time by doing certain actions, and it seems like DICE has listened, albeit probably not to me specifically, and ribbons are now coming back. There are initially going to be 20 ribbons tested and more to come in the future, so while it hasn't been confirmed exactly what those ribbons are, it has been confirmed that they're designed to promote teamwork, so I suspect we'll see ribbons similar to those we had in Battlefield 4, including revive ribbons for reviving a certain number of players, healing ribbons, resupplying ribbons, spotting ribbons, essentially rewards and recognition for doing actions that will benefit your teammates. As the reward itself for the ribbons, when obtained you'll receive 500 XP per ribbon. While this isn't going to make or break the game, it will be nice to have a mini reward system like this to keep you engaged and ultimately working to help your team and not just yourself. For those players who've been playing the game for a while, the ribbon XP may not seem like much since most players have their classes leveled up to level 10 already, and as we all know, you don't receive anything from regular rank ups, only class rank ups. However, DICE has chosen to increase the maximum class rank for all classes from 10 to 50. Now, to me at least, it's no surprise that DICE has chosen to increase the maximum class rank. This is a natural progression for the game to go through, but what is a surprise to me is how far they chose to increase it without adding new weapons to the game at this point. The benefit of class ranks is that they allow you to progress toward your next class unlock, however, as everything currently in the game is unlocked by level 10, these new class ranks seem to be a bit out of place without the addition of new weapons and gadgets. While I'm sure we'll see some new weapons and gadgets with the release of the upcoming DLC, I wonder if we'll see enough to warrant an increase of this size. That said, DICE did mention that by reaching rank 50 with any of the classes, you'll be rewarded with an extra class flare for your kill card. Is that enough to warrant the massive new grind? Well, for me, not really, but at least I can see that DICE is trying to do some things to see if they can increase the game's longevity. My hope is that the increase in the maximum class rank of this magnitude means that DICE has a lot of new weapons and gadgets incoming, but only time will tell. Another small change I want to mention is map voting. Currently the map rotation is static, and the next map on a specific server will always be the same. This is now being changed as DICE will allow players on a specific server to vote on 2 different options for the next map to be played. This is a nice addition because even before the DLC, there are already some maps that it seems a majority of the players just really don't enjoy, and I'm looking at you, Suez, so it'll be nice to have the option to skip those if the majority of players in your particular server feel the same way. It's certainly not a revolutionary change, but it's a nice little addition to shake things up a bit. There are a few other changes that have been mentioned as well, and plenty more that I'm sure we haven't heard anything about, but these are the ones that I felt were the most worth mentioning for now. I'm excited to see what the CTE is able to bring to the game and hope that it'll have the same positive impact on Battlefield 1 that it did on Battlefield 4. Now I want to know how you feel about these changes. Do you feel that they'll have a positive and lasting impact on the game? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.